When you slapped him those times, were you attempting to cause him physical pain or physical impairment?
Why else would you slap somebody? There is no other reason to slap somebody than to cause them pain. When you slap someone, the pain receptors in their face are going to react. Hey guys, Seth Fuller, your favorite lawyer here to talk about a case that's capturing the nation. Now, I normally wouldn't touch on this because, frankly, the only reason I think we're even talking about it is because it involves a pretty little white girl. And I've seen enough stories in my life about missing pretty little white girls that just the novelty of it wears off. However, I did run into some footage that just kind of blew my mind. And I only say that because it's footage that we are able to see and that it was not hidden. This is not an occurrence that blows my mind. It's something that happens all the time that I've talked about before, but when I watched this footage, I just had to highlight this. So Gabby Petito, I don't watch the news, so I don't know how to say it right, but she was pulled over with her boyfriend, Brian Laundrie, at some point before she became missing. Now that she is missing, and again, I don't want to make a joke or make light of this. From what I understand, some remains that are likely hers have been found, and my condolences go out to the family members and friends of her, and I hope whoever did this to her, if somebody did, is brought to justice. But cut to before that, the U.S. Park Rangers released body cam footage of this incident where her and her boyfriend were pulled over, reports of some sort of argument and some sort of assault occurring. And so, of course, everybody's like, oh, look, assault occurred before this, and so it must be the boyfriend. But here's the interesting part. He was the victim in this, and her the assaulter in this particular incident. She slapped him, and the police, the park rangers, come and investigate, and both parties admit that's what happened. She slapped him, which is an assault causing bodily injury. Now, I know what you're saying. Did she bodily injure him? Almost everywhere in the United States, bodily injury is going to be just pretty much pain. If you cause someone pain, that's going to be the upper level of assault, as opposed to if I just, give someone a shove, they don't feel any pain, then that's going to be probably a ticket level or the lowest level. When I cause someone pain or marks or injury, visible injury, then we're going to be talking about raising the stakes to usually an upper level of misdemeanor, and then if it's severe bodily injury, you get to felony. Anyways, you probably get the gist of it so far, but here's what happens. A huge percentage of assault family violence cases are male on female. Now, this is not reflective of the overall statistics you see, in that it's often back and forth, and often the female can be the aggressor. It's not unheard of. It's pretty common. But that's against our societal norms, and pretty much as a society, we've kind of agreed it's okay for women to assault men. But then, in the law and in public, we say, no, that's definitely not okay. You have to be fair. There's no double standard here. We're not a country of double standards with the law. So we have to treat each one fairly. And indeed, in this video, the police officer talks about this several times. Let me just give you a little taste of it.
Well, we are charging her with domestic assault. So there's going to be a protection order set in place between the two of them until he's able to get over to the PD tomorrow, because he doesn't want to pursue it, but I don't have a choice in this, as I'm sure you are well aware. So he's going to be wanting to go over to the PD first thing tomorrow morning as they open up to get the protective order removed. But that doesn't fix tonight.
So that's the police officer discussing, in no uncertain terms, the fact that this is an assault, family violence has occurred, and that he has no choice but to arrest her. So again, fair play. Yes, finally, the law is doing the right thing. Again, I'm not saying slapping someone should be put in jail on every occasion, but that is what the law says, and that is what's happening to men who slap women. Again, anytime you think, oh, what's going on, you have to take into account that if this man slapped this woman 100% of the time, 100% of the time in today's America, he goes to jail and faces getting his constitutional rights removed, faces going to jail for up to a year or even longer, depending on the circumstances. He faces, the government being in his life for 18 months, 12 months, losing custody of his kids. All these results come from these even simple cases like slapping someone. The family violence tag is a very important one. So again, we're done. This is a video about how it's finally evening out, and it was that men were believed, but now it's that it's even. There's no double standard. It's just right. No. Check out minutes later when the police officers approach her.
This is a very, very important question. How you answer this question is going to determine what happens next. But the only person who can answer this question is you. Think very hard before you answer the question. Do not quickly answer. Think very hard. When you slapped him those times, were you attempting to cause him physical pain or physical impairment? Was that what you were attempting to do to him?
That doesn't matter. In most places, almost all of them are intentionally, knowingly, and recklessly. And the intention is in the act. In other words, why else would you slap somebody? There is no other reason to slap somebody than to cause them pain. Again, unless you're playful. Oh, it was playing, something ridiculous like that, but this is not the situation. When you slap somebody out of anger, you are causing them pain. That is what slapping somebody does. It does it almost 100% of the time. When you slap someone, the pain receptors in their face are going to react. That's just how it works. But we all know what the police are doing here. They're setting this up.
What were you attempting to do? What was the reason behind the slapping and stuff? What was it you were attempting to accomplish by slapping?
I was trying to get him to stop telling me.
She was trying to get him to stop telling her to calm down. Very important, guys. The worst thing you can do when a woman is out of control, maybe even anybody is out of control, is tell her to calm down. It's never in the history of relationships ever worked. Don't tell them to calm down. But if you do, she's apparently allowed to slap you, at least in the state of Utah, or if the park rangers. Anyways, back to this wonderful display of policing.
Well, it doesn't sound to me like she attempted to injure him. It's your call. This is 100% your call. I support you either way.
I'll let you get back to your parents, okay? She openly admitted to me earlier that she was striking him in the arm. Or he said that she was striking him in the arm. He said she was, and that's what caused him to hit the curb. She said that she got hurt. I might have this too much, like probably.
She said that too, that she started distracting him by hitting him, and then he probably looked at her, and that's why the mark formed. But when he was not, she said it was her fault because she was distracting him by hitting him. But she said she didn't try to hurt him, it wasn't malicious. She thought that he was a person to her.
Attempt with unlawful force or violence.
So once again, these police officers who go in and testify to this exact opposite of what they're talking about now on the side of the road, because they really don't want to arrest this pretty young girl. Pretty little white girls, nobody wants to put them in jail. And she was crying, she was crying. So we really don't want to put her in jail. So these police officers get together and decide that because he was telling her to calm down, and she slapped him and pretty much caused him to ride over and hit the curb with her slapping of him. And even though that she admitted it and the victim reported that that's what happened, they've all gotten together and decided that because she didn't say the words, I did it to hurt him, that there is no intent to hurt him. That's what these people have gotten together. Now, here's the great thing is I get to talk to all these three people in the future. Not me, but some Utah defense attorney, especially the non-park rangers. I don't know how many assault family violence of the park rangers testify at, but certainly this police officer over here, whoever he is, state or local, I get to talk to them as a defense attorney in trial later on, and I get to ask them questions like, well, over here you said that unless they say specifically they meant to hurt somebody, that striking somebody because of what they're telling you is not a crime. We all know it's BS. We all know what's going on here. And we all know that this is the privilege of pretty little white girls. And if you don't believe me, this is national news everywhere, even though lots of people go missing, even though lots of people are murdered every year. It's on Fox News, on CNN, on CNBC, on every single channel. It's the pretty little white girls who get the attention. And it's the pretty little white girls who get to go home and just call their parents and not face any repercussions for assault family violence that occurred. The most interesting part of this whole thing is that it's highly likely that if Gabby had been arrested here, that she probably wouldn't be missing or dead at this time. Just by the time they process her, by the time they get a bondsman, she's probably not hanging out in a park somewhere. They'll be able to keep track of her. At least she's on the grid. It's just what we call a moment of intervention that the police had. And they'll never know. We'll never know because they didn't. Because they let this little girl go. But now the entire country can worry about her. And, demonize the guy that without any such evidence that it must be the boyfriend who killed her because earlier she slapped him. In any event, none of that I care about. What I do care about is this is what I face. I understand that we can't, as a society, have men going around slapping women, and that there was a time, not too long ago, where the regular thing was for the dude police officer to say, hey, we're going to let this one pass because he was slapping his wife and his wife doesn't want to press charges. We are long past that. Pretty much my whole lifetime, we have been past that. We have now swung the pendulum the other way. But we don't want to deal with the repercussions of that, which is not having a double standard for men and women. However, I can only question these police officers about that because every other police officer is going to go into court with my assault family violence cases that I'm defending and say things like, no, I don't have any double standards. I treat everyone the same and I would arrest any female who did the same there. When we all know it's not the case. I have to go in and hear the jury members or jury panelists who will tell me, no, there's no double standard here. I don't think there is a double standard. This is exactly what's happening across the nation, and I just want you as potential juror members to know that this is what is happening and to take that in your brain whenever you go into any assault family violence trial and be fair about it. Understand that that's what this is happening. Understand that the men in these situations generally have the disadvantage and not the advantage. And not because of anything they did, but because of something the previous generation did. In any event, thank you for listening again, guys. Subscribe, share it, whatever you got to do. But more importantly, just educate yourself and be a good jury member. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.